Hi, this is Anita from the Global Trade Gal. Today I want to talk a little about the global supply chain and global management. There's a lot of talk in the press, especially in the US press, about the global supply chain, in particular about tariffs. And, basically about, what is a tariff going to do to the US economy? How is it going to impact the US economy? I can only tell you from my own experience, for what I've seen, having been many years in this industry and living in Asia, and have gone through several anti dumpings. I've gone through tariffs, and basically, I understand a little bit about the impact of the tariffs on the global supply. So I'm going to speak a lot from my own experience. I am not politically on one side or another, even though I do have some very strong political opinions. I will not voice them, here in this podcast. But I would like to tell you about what I have seen happen in the global supply chain with them. First of all, let me start with anti-dumping. Many years ago, probably, I don't know if it was 10, 15 years ago or so, the United States put on a anti-dumping on bedroom furniture from China. It started with several U.S. large furniture factories who said that they could no longer compete with the price that China was producing with bedroom furniture. So they went on anti-dumping and they won the case on anti-dumping. These furniture manufacturers did it because they said, we are going to bring jobs back to America. But the reality was much different. They did not bring jobs back to America. In fact, they switched their jobs overseas, many of them in China and in a place like Vietnam or India or Philippines or Indonesia or whatever. They basically moved the jobs overseas and did not move the jobs to America. Now, I don't know why they made that decision, but I can tell you, I can only guess some of the reasons why. If you are a manufacturer and if you have let's say the weather is extremely cold, you're dealing with solid wood, and the weather in America becomes extremely cold, you have a huge cold, cold rush come through, and maybe your warehouse isn't quite as, climatized as maybe it should be, or you weren't really prepared for this type of storm or whatever, you could lose a lot of solid wood, a lot of that in a very short period of time. If you just buy from the manufacturer, that is basically on the manufacturer themselves. They have to deal with that cost. You do not. Manufacturing can be very expensive, and it can be very expensive as far as not just labor goes, but also parts, supplies, complaints if you end up with other type of problems. All of those things can add on to the manufacturing. That is one reason why I'm a great believer in free global trade without the tariffs. Now, you fast forward a bit, and now the tariffs, Trump put on the tariffs on his first term and is threatening to put on tariffs on his second term with, Canada, Mexico, and China. I have seen the tariffs, of course, hurt the smaller factories in these countries than the larger ones. And certainly I felt like it's the smaller guys we should be willing to be able to help. The little guys that don't really have the type of money and the other thing as the bigger guys. A bigger person and a bigger factory can be able to weather the storm of tariffs much easier than a smaller person. They can, pick up and say, okay, we're going to move our factory or move some of the manufacturing to another country that doesn't have the tariffs. So they get up and they build another factory somewhere, and maybe they use, their China factory for some certain things, like they do their research and development there. They do some of their other things there, and then they manufacture again offshore in another place and still sell it to the United States. Again, it's not bringing back jobs to America for many of the types of products. I think from what I heard and I've understood is that it really hasn't brought back jobs to America. In fact, tariffs, have hurt American jobs, because if the things that you're looking to buy as a manufacturer in America suddenly becomes more expensive, then you have to pass that cost on to your customers or the consumer, or you need to build that into your product somehow. So really, when it comes to this whole thing about the free trade and whether or not we should have free trade, or how does free trade help or hurt us, I'm an advocate of free trade. Why? Because I believe that, one country, if they can produce something at a good cost, should be able to sell that to the other country, and then vice versa. And then, everybody remains happy. Everyone's able to get the things that they need. On the other hand, when Trump's tariffs came in, I don't know if you recall this or not, but China immediately put a tariffs on the U.S. soybeans. Now, a lot of American farmers, they produce soybeans. And what happened is they gave the farmers then some money, for the soybeans that they could no longer sell. But in the long term, it didn't happen because of the fact that the Chinese began to look for other sources of soybeans. So a lot of times what tariffs do is tariffs will also build up another country. For example, I would have to say, being here in Vietnam has been one of the countries that has benefited from the China tariffs in that, people have moved here to build production here. Mexico was another country which has benefited from the China tariffs because many people began to move to Mexico to be able to do it. And so, other countries have too, probably Philippines, Indonesia, India. They benefited in that people began to move their production there. They didn't necessarily move their production back to the United States. First of all, there's many reasons for that. One could just be the labor, that they don't have the labor that they need to be able to produce what they need to produce. And the other, reason could simply be that they don't have the raw materials. It doesn't really have to do with some of the other costs involved. There could be many, many different reasons as to why a product can become more expensive to produce in one place versus another place. When it comes to supply chain, and when it comes to the supply chain management, I can just tell you that it's a very complex process. That it is a very complex process to be able to work in the supply chain today and to be able to understand what's happening in the supply chain. The global supply chain is really an ever-evolving landscape. And when, people talk to me and say like, oh, I want to be in, I want to be able to sell products. I'm like, yeah, that's great, but it's not easy. Like today, to be able to sell products from one to another is not easy. Not only do you have the tariffs and you have the anti-dumping, which of course is one thing, but then you start having regulations where, countries start putting regulations on where suddenly now you need this form or you need this or you need that in order to be able to either get the goods out of one country or to get the goods into a country. So there's a lot of other, types of legal hurdles. And that's why it's an ever-changing type of landscape that most people don't realize that today in the global supply chain it's just not a matter of getting points from A to B and everything goes smooth. In fact, it can be a very difficult process to get goods from a factory or a manufacturer, especially overseas, into the warehouse in America and then into the hands of the consumers or into the store. It can actually be quite a tedious process where you need people who know exactly what they're doing and how they're doing it. It is not always an easy thing to do. And also with that is, technology and AI, of course, is changing this. And, AI and technology is going to help to make this easier, but you're still going to have to know what you're doing when it comes for things as far as forms and other type of regulations as to this. Also, the other thing is the risk. There's always a risk which is involved when it comes to the global supply chain. That's why there are people who just deal with supply chain risk management. That's the main thing that they deal with is they look at the risks. They look at and they say like, what are the risks that are involved with this? Or what is your backup plan that you have? Certainly everyone who's producing now in China with an extra 10% coming on is probably saying, what is my backup plan here? What are we going to do here? Are we going to pass this on to our consumer? Will it kill the product? Will it make the product too expensive? Are we going to swallow the extra 10% ourselves? Or are we going to try to move the production somewhere else? All of those have a risk to it. Of course, the first one, if you swallow it, you're going to lose the 10%. The other one is you pass it on to the consumer, you might lose sales. The third one is you move to another country. Maybe if you don't have any backup in that country, maybe it's not the same quality. So, there's all these risks that are basically in on this too. You need to look and say, what is your backup plan? In the global supply chain, we are constantly looking at our backup plan. What's our backup plan? If A happens, what will we do? What is B? If B happens, what will happen to C? So you constantly need to be looking at these things also in your global supply chain. My co-worker, James Johnson, has written a blog on this entitled Mastering Global Supply Chain Management, where he touches upon some of these. I'll put a link in the description below in case you are interested in being able to learn more about this. But some of these things that I have said here are some of my own thoughts on the present day global supply chain. We hope that you've enjoyed this. We hope that you will become part of our community. We'd like to thank you so much for listening to us. We appreciate your support.